The neural translator implant sparked and died with a sound like breaking glass inside Dr. Elena Vasquez's skull. She clutched her temple, fighting back tears as the familiar weight of alien voices became incomprehensible static once more. "The human's device has failed," announced Zixthera, the Kethmori trade delegate, her crystalline vocal cords creating harmonics that would have been automatically converted to standard galactic just moments before. Now they sounded like wind chimes in a hurricane. Elena straightened in her chair at the head of the negotiation table, surrounded by representatives from 7 different species. The fate of humanity's membership in the Galactic Trade Consortium hung on these talks, and she was the only human translator certified for this level of diplomatic exchange. The implant had been her life's work, a revolutionary piece of tech that didn't just translate words, but cultural concepts, emotional undertones, even pheromone-based communications. "I apologize for the technical difficulty," Elena said in English, knowing none of them could understand her now. "Please allow me a moment to—" "The delay costs us profit cycles," rumbled Gornex of the Tholorian Mining Guild through his breathing apparatus. His sulfur-based biology made him sound like a volcano even with translation. Without it, he was utterly alien. That's when something remarkable happened. Elena found herself understanding them anyway, not the words. Those remained gibberish. But Gornex's posture, the way his mandibles clicked in a specific rhythm, the slight lean forward that indicated impatience across dozens of species she'd studied. She'd been so reliant on her technology that she'd forgotten her own capabilities. "Respected delegates," she said, switching to the gestural pidgin language used in spaceports across the galaxy, her hands moving in careful, deliberate patterns. "Technical failure, temporary. Communication continues." The room fell silent. Several delegates exchanged what she recognized as surprised glances, though their facial structures varied wildly. The Sehalani observer's eye stalks curled inward, a sign of intense interest. Even Zixthara's bioluminescent patches shifted from the angry red of impatience to the curious blue-green of attention. "You speak the port sign?" asked Vorthak, the Xylem representative, his insectoid head tilting in a way Elena had learned indicated confusion. His own gestures were clumsy. Most species relied so heavily on translators that they'd never bothered to learn the manual backup system. "Human adaptability," Elena signed back, adding a slight flourish that indicated both humility and determination. "We learn. We overcome." What followed was unlike any diplomatic negotiation in galactic history. Elena became a living bridge between species, using her deep knowledge of xenobiology, cultural anthropology, and behavioral psychology. When the Tholorian delegate became agitated, she didn't need a translator to read his mounting stress in, the way his thoracic plates flared. She diffused the situation by presenting the trade proposal in terms of mineral extraction efficiency, something that spoke to his species' core values. With the Kavari delegation, she used aromatic compounds. From her emergency diplomatic kit, communicating through carefully blended scents that conveyed respect and partnership. The aquatics Helene required a different approach entirely. She used bioluminescent panels to create the light patterns that served as their primary emotional language. Hours passed. Elena's head throbbed where the implant had failed, and her hands ached from constant signing, but something unprecedented was happening. The delegates weren't just communicating, they were connecting. Without the sterile perfection of artificial translation, Conversations became more organic, more real. The human demonstrates remarkable capability, Zixathera observed, her patterns shifting to what Elena recognized as deep respect. Her broken tool reveals her true strength. That's when Elena realized her fatal mistake. In her pride at managing the impossible, she'd revealed something the Galactic Trade Consortium wasn't ready to acknowledge. Humans didn't need their technology. They didn't need the complex infrastructure of translators and cultural mediators that kept the galactic economy running. They could adapt, learn, and communicate with raw intelligence and empathy. The negotiations concluded successfully. Too successfully. Humanity won every major concession, secured favorable trade routes, and gained unprecedented access to galactic markets. Elena should have been celebrated as a hero. Instead, she was summoned before the Consortium Security Council 3 days later. "Dr. Vasquez," spoke High Arbiter Thexalon, his ancient Kavari form hunched over a crystalline desk. "Your performance has raised concerns among member species." Elena stood at attention, though she noticed the way several delegates avoided eye contact, a universal sign of discomfort across most species. "I fulfilled my obligations, Arbiter. The negotiations were successful." "Too successful," hissed Representative Silana of the Translators Guild. "You have demonstrated that human biological adaptability exceeds safe parameters. You solved problems in hours that should require years of cultural study." The truth hit Elena like a plasma discharge. The galactic community wasn't built on cooperation. It was built on carefully maintained dependencies. Each species contributed their unique strengths while remaining reliant on others for essential services. Humans, with their unprecedented adaptability, threatened that balance. "You have 2 choices," Thexalon continued. "Accept neural modification to limit your adaptive capabilities or face exile from galactic society." Elena thought of Earth's billions, of the trade agreements that could lift humanity to unprecedented prosperity, of her life's work in xenolinguistics. Then she thought of what made humans special, their refusal to accept limitations, their ability to grow beyond any boundary. "I choose a third option," she said, switching to port sign so every delegate could understand her clearly. "I choose to be human." The exile order was signed that day. Elena returned to Earth with her broken translator and a warning about the cost of human potential. But she also returned with something else: the complete linguistic and cultural databases of 47 species, memorized during her years of service. Humanity would find its own path to the stars. They always did. And they would do it without asking permission.